Good evening, Sarawak. It's 8 p.m. Friday, January 29th. This is DDWeekly. It's good to be with you. I'm Ling Hui. We are here to bring you a recap of the top news stories that made headlines across Sarawak for the week. Batulang is the prodigal son who must return to the fold of the government of the day. Orang Ulu Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or UCCI President, Datuk Mutang in emphasizing this to Dayakdaily during an exclusive interview, said that all other Orang Ulu majority constituencies of Belagak, Murum, Telang Usan, Mulu and Batu Danau are in the fold of Gabungan Parti Sarawak GPS, except for Batulang. Under the opposition for the past 2 terms, the former Bukit Mas MP said, the people of Batulang has lost so much in terms of allocations, such as the Minor Rural Project, Rural Transformation Program, agricultural subsidies and many more, which amounted to about 8 to 10 million ringgit a year. With regards to the upcoming 12th state election, Mutang believes GPS can wrest back Batulang from the opposition provided the ruling coalition fields the right candidate. He thus urges the people to support GPS in the elections so that the constituency will not be left out of major development, including better road accessibility and 24-hour electricity supply. Soon after Mutang's words got out, current Batulang Assemblyman Baru Biyan revealed that he has managed to secure projects worth some 1.3 billion ringgit for the Lun Bawang majority constituency in his service for the past 2 terms, listing out projects like the upgrade of the 66-kilometer Long Lupin to Batulang Road and rebuilding of Long Sukang Clinic, SK Long Semado and SK Trusan. Baru said the value of these projects have surpassed the 10 million ringgit alleged by Mutang to have been lost over the years. He also stressed that revealing the amount was not to brag, but to let the people compare between his achievements and the inaction of GPS in Lawas and other seats that are in the fold for the past 57 years. Finally, he said to leave the decision in the hands of the Lun Bawang people as he had done his best as an Adun and Member of Parliament. Parti Rakyat Sarawak PRS President Tan Sri Dr. James Jomut Masing has called on the National Registration Department (NRD) not to automatically categorize those using the terms bin or binti instead of anak as Muslims, as there are some ethnic groups in Sarawak who use such terms and are actually non-Muslims. He hopes the NRD would understand and rectify such assumptions and assist those which it has unintentionally wronged. This call came after Human Rights Commission of Malaysia Suhakam Sarawak Commissioner Datuk Dr. Madeline Burma brought up the issue following complaints from indigenous communities who wanted to change the religious status on their new MyKad. Madeline disclosed that there were instances that non-Muslim applicants who never professed and practiced Islam were administratively converted to Islam, which was officially stated in their MyKad, due to applicants using bin or binti in the identity card. Also responding to this issue, Sarawak activist Peter John Jaban has urged the Unit for Other Religions, UNIFOR, to assist citizens facing such problems. He revealed that he has been dealing with this kind of issues throughout the years and the number of cases received are on the rise. Peter John also highlighted that the issue of religion conversion, especially to Islam upon marriage, also caused widespread concern and conflict in Sarawak. Questioning whether Sharia law took precedence over indigenous cultural practices in Sarawak, he wants UNIFOR to take charge of its own mandate by helping citizens facing issues related to religious identity to solve their problems. The recent announcement that Movement Control Order MCO in Sibu and Conditional MCO CMCO in the rest of the state will be extended until February 14 is definitely bad news for not only the Chinese community but Sarawakians in general, eagerly looking forward to Chinese New Year and Valentine's Day. Sadly enough, Sibu Municipal Council SMC Chairman Clarence Ting asserted that there will be no Chinese New Year nor Valentine's Day celebrations in Sibu this year due to the COVID-19 outbreak that has yet to be contained. He reminded Sibu folks that it is not safe to hold celebrations now, even if it is the most celebratory time of the year for the Chinese community. Not to mention when traditional fairs and different forms of celebrations are forced to scale down or even cancelled to avoid mass gatherings. He advised people to keep the reunion dinner gathering simple, small, and only limited to family members in the same household. SDMC had also announced previously that Chinese New Year can only be celebrated on the first day with strict restrictions. As this year's celebration will be a quiet family affair, please be reminded that only a maximum of 20 family members are allowed to gather for reunion dinners at home. Lion and dragon dance, open house gathering in restaurants, hotels, bazaars, as well as celebrations at temples and public places are not allowed altogether. It is also compulsory for house owners to keep a record of visitors either manually or through MySejahtera or community apps, as well as to observe other standard operating procedures such as taking body temperature and ensuring physical distancing of at least 1 meter. The Ministry of Youth and Sports Sarawak is organizing an eFootball Pro Evolution Soccer 2021 stay-at-home online competition in efforts to find new esports talent in Sarawak. Jointly organized by Ministry of Youth and Sports and Sarawak Esports Association, Minister Datuk Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah emphasized this championship as a platform to prepare amateur players who have the potential to compete in the national level or even in the international level. In addition, he said the Pro Evolution Soccer 2021 is also one of the games in the esports category, which will be held in the Malaysia Games 2022 in Johor. Abdul Karim added that this competition also aims to help players to improve in managing their psychology while under pressure. The online championship competition will run until March 7th and offers a total of 10,000 ringgit worth of prizes. Coming up next is more updates on Sarawak development. As promised, Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg has presented a government grant of 10 million ringgit to all 14 Chinese independent schools in Sarawak. Annually, these schools cost the Sarawak United Association of Private Secondary School Management Board 35 million ringgit. But last year, the board revealed that these schools have been running on deficits totaling to more than 25 million ringgit each year. As these are private schools, there has been no systematic allocations from the federal government, and the Chinese community has been taking upon themselves the responsibility to sustain these schools all these years by generating income through donations from the private sector as well as the public. Since 2014, Sarawak government under the leadership of the late Chief Minister Perhin Sri Adinan Satem and now Abang Johari has been supporting these schools yearly. Sarawak United Association of Private Chinese Secondary School Management Board Deputy Chairman Datuk Richard Wee, who received the cheque on behalf, thanked Abang Johari and the state government for their continuous support to the Chinese education in Sarawak. Some 90,000 frontliners and 1 million Sarawakians at high risk of COVID-19 exposure will become the first to get the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines when the first batch arrives in Malaysia, expected at the beginning of March. State Disaster Management Committee SDMC advisor Datuk Seri Dr. Sim Kwee Hian said that the high-risk groups at outbreak areas would be given the second priority and this would include the elderly as well as those with pre-existing medical conditions such as diabetes and high blood pressure. He added that the last group of people to get the vaccine would be low-risk Sarawakians who are not eligible to free vaccines by the federal government. On the overall estimated timeline for vaccination, the Minister of Local Government and Housing revealed that reports from State Health Department indicated that the entire process would take at least 6 to 9 months due to the vast areas and widespread population in Sarawak. Moving on to crime stories, a 21-year-old male set his aunt's motorcycle on fire after she refused to give him money. The incident happened at about 9:57 p.m. at one of the houses in Kampong Pangkalan in Lutong. The suspect fled the scene after lighting up the front part of the Yamaha Eagle motorcycle with damages estimated to cost around 2,000 ringgit. Following the incident, the victim's husband, who is also the suspect's uncle, filed a police report. The young man was arrested at 9 in the morning the next day at a self-service laundrette. Investigations later found that the suspect had previous criminal records, and it was understood that the suspect had been holding grudges against the complainant for constantly scolding him. Now let's take a look at COVID-19 in Sarawak. Cases have continued to soar for the past 7 days, with a total of 1,243 cases recorded in just 1 week. The cumulative number of COVID-19 cases now stands at 3,945. The number of COVID-19 fatality has also increased to 13 cases. Out of the 10 active clusters in Sarawak, Pasai Cluster and Sibu continue to top the list with the highest number of infections with 1,704 cases in total as of yesterday. This followed by Rakut Cluster and Miri with a total of 107 cases, and the new Indah Riang Cluster in Kuching with 20 cases. After all the twists and turns, Dalat, Bintulu, Kanawit, Beluru, Miri, Sibu and Kuching are now labelled as red zones with 1,696 local cases recorded in the last 14 days. Serike, Subis, Betong and Song are under orange zones, while 19 districts are under COVID-19 yellow zones. Sarawak is now left with only 10 districts in the safe green zone with 0 cases reported. They are Limbang, Tanjung Manis, Tabaduk, Muka, Daro, Matu, Pusa, Saratok, Kabong and Marudi. Latest on the standard operating procedures for funerals, State Disaster Management Committee SDMC has decided to further tighten the restrictions to allow only 30 persons in any ceremonial gathering and 20 persons including service bearers at burial sites. As for work SOP in Sibu, businesses, particularly essential services, are now required to apply for police permits for work-related travels during MCO period. The current practice for employers to issue authorization letters for their employees has been discontinued since Wednesday. The State Health Department has also urged individuals who have travelled to COVID-19 high-risk areas such as Sri Aman, Betong, Sibu, Kanawit, Dalat, Miri, Beluru and Sabau in the past 2 weeks to get tested at the nearest health clinic or private hospital. Its director, Dr. Chin Jing Hing, also advised those who have come into contact with people who have visited the red zone areas and developed symptoms such as cough, fever, sore throat, loss of taste or smell, and body fatigue to get tested immediately. In efforts to enhance monitoring Longhouse's lockdown following reports of Longhouse folks disobeying restriction orders and attempted to go out, SDMC said that the armed forces will be roped in to assist and support police in enforcement, apart from RELA officers and the state's security unit personnel. That is the DD Weekly news for this week. Thank you for watching. I'm Ling Hui and you have a great weekend.